So the game is working, but it's all a bit quiet, isn't it? It lacks excitement. So I'm going to add a few things in now to make it look more professional. So the first thing, we're going to have some audio. As you can see, I've made an audio folder here, and I've imported 3 sounds. This one I made myself with OpenMPT. The bang and the quack I discovered from elsewhere. So what I want to do is whenever the gun is shot, I want it to make a bang like this. And if we hit a duck, I want it to quack like that. And the theme can go on in the background. We will show a way of turning it on and off later on. So the first thing I want to do is add a sound source to the duck prefab. So we've got down here, I'll just add in an audio, and then we've got an audio source here. And I'm going to select the quack sound for this. So here on the audio clip, I can just click on this little selector here, and we've got the quack. I'm going to take the volume down a little bit, because it does tend to be a bit loud. And the other thing is, I don't want it to quack as soon as it comes onto the screen or as soon as it's created, so I'm going to take that off. Now I want to go back to the code, and I've got the duck control here, and I'm going to add in another private variable, and this is going to be the audio source. There it is. I'm going to call this quack sound. Now, as we've added the audio source into the prefab, I can find it using the same sort of process here. So quack sound equals get component, audio source, and then the brackets. Right, so that will find the audio source component we've just added in and assign it to quack sound. Now, when these ducks quack, they'll all quack with the same sound, and it gets rather tedious. So what I want to do is just give them a slight individuality by altering the pitch. So some will be high quackers and some will be low quackers. So I can do that by just altering the pitch here. So we go quack sound dot, and we've got a pitch component of that. And I'm going to add on to the existing pitch a random number. So we've got the range. So I want to be able to go down a bit. So I'm going to say minus. It doesn't have to be very much. Our ears are very sensitive. So between minus 0.2 and plus 0.2 will be fine. Right, so adding on a minus number, of course, reduces it. That's fine. So that gives each duck a little bit of individuality here. And here we go down on mouse down. So this is when somebody quacks on it, or clicks on it rather. We're going to make it quack. So, and that's simply done using play. That's fine. So the ducks should now quack when they get shot, and each with its own individual quack, and that seems to be working well enough. The next thing we want to do is add on the bang sound when we click the mouse button. So this is going to go into the game controller. So if we go back to the game controller, we're just adding things in here. Seems to be taking quite a while to do that. Okay, so it's updated the code. We've got nothing to assign here. So we've got the game controller. Let's add another audio source to that. If you can't remember where things are, you can just click in the search box here, and if it's something with audio, then we've got all of these audio things here, and we've got an audio source. Again, we can assign the bang to here. Again, I'm going to take the volume down a bit and take off the play on awake because I don't want it to bang as soon as the game starts. Right, we can leave this for the moment. It will put it into a default audio mixer. And then we've got the game control, so we need to find this audio source in the game control. So we just edit that. Well, I've got it open here. And we do much the same thing here. So we've got a private audio source. I'm going to call this bang sound. And as we did before with the duck, we just find it. So let's have a look in the start. I'll put it fairly near the top, I think. Again, get component, audio source. And this, we don't want to bang the gun if the game is over. So after we've determined that the game is not over, if we're pressing the button, now I only want to know if we've pressed it recently. So we've got this if get button down, which means has somebody pressed the button in the last frame, not if we're holding it down at the moment. And we're checking with fire 1. That's the left mouse button. If that's the case, then let's just check that code. I forgot a bracket there. It's always useful to check your code because little things like that you can miss. Okay, so that should now fire every time we press the mouse button. Right, the last thing to do is to put the background music on, and for this I'm going to put in a new game object. So I'm going to create, we are updating again. Right, let's create empty. I'm going to call this one background music. And I'm going to add an audio source to that. We can do this automatically actually, so if we go into audio and if we put on the DuckShoot theme and just drag it onto that item, then it will automatically add an audio source and choose the DuckShoot theme. Now in this case I'm going to turn the volume down quite a bit. I'll show you ways of turning it on and off. It is going to play on awake, and the other thing it's going to do is to loop. So as soon as it finishes, annoyingly, it will go on again. Let's just save the scene. Let's maximize on playback on. Much more exciting.